Your hands together. Michael Sanders.
Thank you, Adam. Hey, everyone. It's nice to be here. My name's Michael. I'm one of the co-founders at Horizon, and we're the creators of Sequence and Skyweaver. And today I'd like to talk about the many pain points associated with building a Web3 game or application, and how to solve those pain points so that you can get to market faster and deliver your users an amazing experience. So a little bit about us. 5 years ago, we set out to create Skyweaver, a Web3 trading card game where players can actually own their cards. And right away, we realized a critical problem. Onboarding sucked. Users, just to try to play a game, they had to download and install a browser extension, figure out what seed phrases were. It was a research project that sees 90% of users drop off and is absolutely not tenable for someone just trying to have a fun online experience. And so we've distilled the wallet creation process in addition to a total of 7 pain points that really riddle the creation of Web3 games and applications. And those issues include the wallet creation and the onboarding, and then gas fees. How do you handle gas fees for your users? And when you're choosing a network, right, there are so many to think about. So how do you know which network is the right to deploy your Web3 game or application on? And then you need to make it easy for your users to buy Web3 items. And then you have to make it easy to display those items so that they're real-time, in sync, and that users know what they own. And then we also need to think about tokens. Like, are NFTs really best suited for your application? Or might something like SFTs, semi-fungible tokens, be better for you? And lastly, we need to make it easy for users to trade their goods, to buy them, and for you as a creator to monetize the economic activity in your ecosystem via something like an in-game or in-app marketplace. And so we've solved all of these pain points, and we've built products that now make up Sequence, which is an all-in-one Web3 developer platform and smart wallet to make building Web3 games and applications easy. So now I'm going to walk you through each of those specific 7 pain points, and then how we solve them, and how you can use our learnings and our tools to, again, get to market faster and deliver that wonderful experience to your users. Okay, so starting with wallet creation, I think most of us in this room know that if you force someone to download a browser extension and then figure out a 12-word seed phrase, the vast majority of users will leave you. And it's critical that you have an easy sign-in process. Now, what many Web3 games and applications have done to achieve the easy UX is they've gone with a custodial wallet solution, effectively preventing the user from creating a real Web3 wallet. And while it delivers easy UX, it's also a big compromise to security, and it's a large liability because essentially the game or the third party is taking custody of the user's assets. And we've seen examples recently where this just does not go over well, right? But we agree that the easy sign-on is absolutely essential. We just don't think the custodial path is the way forward. And in fact, we built a custodial wallet solution 4 years ago before realizing there's a better way. And that's how we arrived at the Sequence smart contract wallet, so that in 2 clicks, a user can create a secure, non-custodial, multi-chain smart contract wallet that you log in with, just like you see here, with email or social sign-in. And it really solves the onboarding process to Web3 while granting your users access to your game and the Web3 ecosystem at large. And in addition to the seamless sign-on, it has built-in on-ramps. It has awesome support for collectibles, whether they're NFTs or SFTs. It enables gasless transactions and reliable and fast transactions for your users. And then with the multi-key design, it actually enables account recovery. So now that we've sorted out the wallet solution, we need to think about gas fees. Every time a user in your game or application buys an item, trades an item, mints, or collects an item, somebody needs to pay a gas fee. If your application is on Polygon, you need to pay that in Matic. If you're on Ethereum, you need to pay it in ETH. On Binance, you need to pay it in BNB, and all the tokens have different chains. Now, the problem with this is that new users don't own these tokens. They don't even know what they are. They're also volatile assets. So it's a large education requirement that you do not want to impose on a new user who's probably just trying to play your game and maybe get a trading card or a skin or a digital piece of fashion. So what we've done to solve this issue is we've created a meta transaction relayer that enables gasless transactions. In other words, you can sponsor the gas for your users so that they never need to think about it or ever pay gas fees. Furthermore, you can batch and parallelize transactions so that you get greater throughput, saving you time and fees. And then it guarantees the success of every transaction, so it makes it reliable and fast for your users. And of course, if you're sponsoring gas fees, right, this could, you might think, oh, well, isn't that an additional expense? But the great news, if you're on something like Polygon, the gas fees are negligible. And furthermore, it's a massive net positive because you're enabling so many more people to purchase by giving them the gasless transactions. Okay, now the question of picking a network. You've solved the wallet, you know how to think about gas fees, but which network do you go on? There's so many to choose from. And it can seem overwhelming. But to make your life simple and effective, we recommend choosing an EVM-compatible chain, such as Polygon, Ethereum, Binance, Arbitrum, Avalanche, or Optimism. And in case anyone doesn't know, EVM stands for Ethereum Virtual Machine. This is the environment in which accounts and smart contracts live. And the great thing about all of these networks is that they're EVM compatible, which means they're compatible with one another. So let's say you choose one of these networks, you deploy your game on it. If anything happens to that network, you can actually port over to another one of these chains. And this, it avoids this sort of vendor lock-in that exists if you choose a network that's not EVM compatible. Because if something goes wrong there, you're pretty much stuck, or you have to re-architect everything, which could take months, potentially years. So by choosing EVM, you have a lot more optionality, security. And we really believe that EVM is the future because of, it's got an amazing developer community, tons of great projects, amazing ethos. And yeah, the technical roadmap is incredible, and more networks are trying to become EVM compatible. So it's a very robust ecosystem. For us with Skyweaver, a number of years ago, we were actually the first game to choose Polygon as its network. And we did that because of the throughput. So instant and cheap transactions, their security model, their technical roadmap, and they have an amazing team. So highly recommend Polygon, but you can choose any one of these networks as well. And fortunately, the Sequence developer stack, it's compatible with all of them. So no matter which network you choose, you can use our tools. And of course, for a user, they should never even think about what network they're on. It doesn't really matter to them. So you can enable this seamless experience through the Sequence wallet, multi-chain, and everything will feel nice and intuitive for them. Okay, so now you've thought about which network you want to deploy on, and we need to make it easy for your users to buy the items in your gamer application. To date, one of the best practices had been to leverage an on-ramp provider, so that your users, they can go from credit or debit card to crypto such as ETH, Matic, or USDC, and then they convert that crypto into your NFT or SFT or whatever the collectible is. The problem with this is that only 50% of transactions will succeed, and that's because at the bank level, they oftentimes block the transaction for being a cash-like equivalent purchase, which they don't perceive favorably. So what we recommend is using something that we can call an NFT checkout. What this does is it allows your user to go directly from credit or debit to your collectible, whether it's an NFT or SFT. And success rates are much, much higher. And this is because the banks perceive it as a virtual good transaction, just like any regular video game, and they're much more favorable towards these. So another great thing with Sequence, we have the leading on-ramp providers already built into the Sequence infrastructure and wallet. So you get Wire, MoonPay, on-ramp, on Meta, and various others. And we're working on the NFT checkout solution so that you can enable greater spend in your application. Then if you let your users buy these applications, these items, you need to be able to display them to your users in real time, right? If a user clicks on their item inventory, they want to be able to see what they own, what they can do with it versus what items they don't own. And querying data on the blockchain is more complex than one might think. And in part, this is because there are a number of issues, such as chain reorganizations, which will validate a block that had already, you've already perceived it as having been validated. Furthermore, there's a variety of issues with it. There are finality thresholds. Just a lot of things you need to keep track of. In essence, you need to be watching every block that's produced in order to ensure that your information is up to date so that you can serve it to your users. It's quite complex. But fortunately for you, we've created an indexer that will allow you to easily query all of the token and NFT data on any of these EVM chains. And so this includes the artwork, the video, the metadata, the market prices, and you can serve that information to your users in real time. So very important for anyone building a Web3 gamer application. And then another issue is node reliability, right? So this is where the data on the blockchain is coming from in the first place. And every node provider that we've tried has gone down at one point or another. And for you, this means that parts of your game or the entire game will go down. And that's obviously not what you want. It'll be unavailable for your users. So what we've created is a node gateway service that aggregates a number of the leading node providers, including our own internally managed node, to ensure that your application is always up and running. If ever any one of the nodes drops, we just seamlessly auto-switch between them. You don't have to do anything to ensure that your app keeps going. Okay, so now your app's up and running. You can rely on that. Let's talk about tokens. A lot of games, they use NFTs, but in fact, most Web3 games and applications will need SFTs more so than NFTs, and then many games will actually need both. And so if we think of NFTs, right, these are unique, non-fungible, one-of-one items, perfectly suited for things like avatars, profile pictures, unique pieces of art, and real estate. However, if you consider most video game items and other collectibles, such as digital fashion, music, trading cards, cars, tools, weapons, farming ingredients like seeds, all of these items actually have multiple copies. So you want to be able to have multiple copies of a given item with the same token ID. So a number of years ago, we created the open source ERC 1155 semi-fungible token standard. And this allows you to create these many items with the same ID so that you can have multiple copies. And so we needed to do this for our game Skyweaver because it's a trading card game. And like this card, Volcanic Blast, you want to be able to have an arbitrary number of copies, whether it's 10 or 1,000,000. And what's wonderful is that even if you do need an NFT, you need a unique one-of-one, let's say it's for a rare trophy or a unique piece of real estate, you can actually create that non-fungible item using the ERC 1155 standard as well. So it's versatile and it's more efficient, so it'll save you on gas fees too. And what's really special about SFTs is that, and we really do believe that most Web3 items will be SFTs, and what's very helpful about them is that you can have liquidity because there are multiple items. And this liquidity can yield healthier markets and more efficient trading. So we'll get to that when we talk about in-game or in-app marketplaces. So recognizing that the Skyweaver cards are SFTs and that most Web3 items in the future will be SFTs, we needed to create a way that makes it easy for players to trade and own those SFTs. And so we created something, it's open source, and it's called the Nifty Swap protocol. And this allows users to instantly buy, sell, or create markets for their SFTs. Nifty Swap is an automated market-making exchange protocol, so you can think of it like Nifty Swap, but for game items and collectibles. And you can see, here's a screenshot of it in action, and this is actually the Skyweaver market that's powered by the Nifty Swap protocol. And you can see that the prices here are denominated in USDC, and so Tiamat's Rage is $4.51, TuneUp is $2.32, and these prices are automatically calculated based on the ratio of assets in the liquidity pool, so based on supply and demand, making it instant and easy for a user to buy or sell these different goods. It's an incredibly intuitive process for a gamer versus the friction that's associated with NFT purchases, whereby you oftentimes have to negotiate a price or deal with buy and sell orders, which takes up time and of course interrupts the flow. Another example that's leveraging the Nifty Swap protocol is niftyswap.io. So this is a general marketplace for all sorts of SFTs. And it allows anyone to instantly buy, sell, or create a market for their SFTs and then even earn liquidity fees for doing so. So for you all, if you're builders, we have our marketplace SDK so that you can build your own custom Web3 collectibles marketplace, which is super powerful because now you can control the user experience. You can keep people within your ecosystem by making it easy for them to trade. And then you can charge front-end fees to monetize the economic activity taking place in your ecosystem. And so we have a no-code white label solution for this, so you can just plug and play with a marketplace, or you can leverage our marketplace SDK if you want to do deeper customization. Okay, so that's a rundown of the 7 different pain points that we've solved and how you can use those tools. And here's a snapshot of the Sequence Web3 stack in its entirety. And so just to refresh everyone and kind of show you how comprehensive it is, there's the Sequence wallet that enables the seamless and secure onboarding of your users. And then the token and NFT APIs, which includes the indexing so that you can query the blockchain data and serve it to your users. And it also requires minting capabilities so that you can create the tokens in the first place and distribute them to your users. The node gateway ensures that your app is always up and running. The marketplace SDK, right, it makes sure that you can have your own custom Web3 marketplace, easy for your users to trade, and so you can monetize the economic activity in your ecosystem. The relayer enables the gasless transactions and makes things cheap and reliable for you and your users. And then the on-ramps, so that your users can go from fiat to crypto or directly to the collectibles. And so whether you're building a Unity-powered video game, an Unreal Engine-powered video game, a mobile gamer application, or a web gamer application, you can leverage our tools, and we make it easy for you to incorporate these Web3 superpowers into your game or app. And so it really is this all-in-one platform to make it easy to build your experience. And it's also modular, so you can decide to use every one of these tools, or you can pick and choose which ones are most suitable for you. And because they're all Web3 and EVM compatible, they play nicely with other tools that exist in the ecosystem. And we would absolutely love to power your project and help bring it to Web3, help bring it to market. There are already 50 projects that have fully integrated Sequence or are in the process of doing so. These include projects like DAZN Boxing. DAZN, of course, is one of the largest sports streaming platforms in the world. They're called the Netflix of sports. They built an NFT project for their boxing fans, and it's powered by Sequence. Cool Cat's one of the premier NFT projects in Web3. It also leverages Sequence. We have Super Gaming. They have this amazing game called Tower Conquest that's in beta right now. Highly recommend it. Sunflower Land, one of the most popular games on Polygon. Community Gaming, an amazing Web3 tournament platform. And many, many other games and applications. And the folks who are leveraging Sequence, they range from small Web3 startups to some of the biggest gaming and tech companies in the world. So we're backed by absolutely leading visionary investors, including Take-Two Interactive. They own Rockstar, Grand Theft Auto, Zynga, 2K, like the NBA 2K franchise, Ubisoft, Coinbase, Bitcraft, Polygon, and our amazing lead investor, Brevin Howard. So we have this amazing support and these kinds of groups leveraging Sequence. And we have so many amazing projects who are building with it, so we'd absolutely love to welcome you to the ecosystem if you're building something awesome as well. And in fact, we have at least one of the amazing projects here with us today, Boomland, which is a metaverse of Web3 games. And I'd like to welcome on stage Tommy Jamet, the head of blockchain product from Boomland, so that we can talk about what they're doing. So if everyone could give a warm round of applause to Tommy.
Where do I put this guy?
Oh yeah, back there. That's a good spot.
That's a good spot here.
So this is mine and Tommy's first time meeting in person. We've had a few video calls over the past few months. Amazing person. And yeah, so hey Tommy, it's great to see you.
It's a pleasure to be here.
And yeah, your team are leaders in Web2 gaming for more than a decade. You've built more than 200 games with over 1.5 billion downloads. So you obviously know a thing or two about making amazing games. And you're now venturing into Web3 for the first time with Hunters on Chain being that first game. So I'd love can you just tell us what is Hunters on Chain, what kind of game is it, and what's your vision for it?
Yeah, no, definitely. So I think, first of all, Hunters on Chain, the way we look at it is a first stepping stone into getting Web2 established experienced team into Web3. We're looking at Hunters on Chain as, so in terms of gaming vocabulary, it's a casual mid-core game in between Battle Royale and MOBA type of games. It looks like this. With those guys, we've also created a small treasure hunt for the conference with them. But basically what the game, the purpose of this game is really to start the process of onboarding a Web2 game into Web3. And we're looking at 3 areas where you guys as well are doing a fantastic job, which is first the user acquisition, so getting new users into Web3. Then you've got the user onboarding, the actual user journey of getting the user into the game. And then we've got the last bit, which is the creation of a Web3 SDK, which has been 7 years in the making for Web2, but now we're adding the Web3 element to it.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I'm super excited for Hunters on Chain to come out. And so can you tell us, like, how does Web3 enhance the gaming experience for players and for creators? And how is it doing so in Hunters on Chain?
Yeah, sure. So for Web3 game, the hardest part on a Web3 game is actually the gaming part. Mm-hmm. And creating an interactive and an appealing game is really hard. You've got a lot to balance, you've got a lot of things to get right in order for the game to be appealing and fun, which is called the gaming loop. Mm-hmm. So with Hunters on Chain, we've got a Web2 version of that called Hunt Royale, which works really well. It's got a total of 7 million downloads so far, 200,000 daily active users. So we know that, and the retention of the game is absolutely massive compared to industry standards. We know that this works. We know that the game is fun. We know that the game works. Now, what we're adding with Hunters on Chain is the element of digital ownership. So all of the hunters, all of the asset in-game will be 1170, ERC 721 and ERC 1155, because we do need SFTs as well, as you rightly said. But all of those assets and the fact that you bring that ownership element to the players is a massive game changer for us.
That's awesome, man. And like Boomland actually consists of a variety of games, right? Or at least in the future. And so it's technically a metaverse.
Yeah, so the way, and I quite like this term of metaverse because who knows what it is, and everyone's got a different definition of it. Yeah. But I guess the way we look at it is a metaverse is a place where different industries and people that could be competitors in Web 2 could actually synergize together in a new environment. And a metaverse to us is basically a gateway where people that have different objectives, different purpose, even different industries can come together. And for this, gaming is a really good entry door. Because through gaming, you can have music, you can have fashion, you can have advertising, you can have a lot of different industry that come in a digital form together. So yeah, that's what we are looking for with Hunters on Chain as a gateway to a metaverse of game where you could have asset being usable in several games, for example.
Amazing. So it's like, yeah, your metaverse can enable new forms of symbiotic experiences where like there's all different forms of collaboration between different brands, between users, cross games and everything.
Yeah, imagine, for example, if you needed to complete different quests in different games in order to earn a premium reward, or even attend a conference and flash a code somewhere and also do something online to actually unlock something in the metaverse. And then to have a reason to exist as a metaverse, it needs to add value that didn't exist before. So the way that we see that additional value is this.
That's awesome. And yeah, for everyone here, like if you scan these, there are a few scattered throughout, you can win a cool prize. So it's adding value and like bringing the metaverse into the physical world as well. And Tommy, so like, how do you think about all of these projects interacting with one another? This is a two-part question. So how do you balance all these games? And then how do you think about balancing game economies in Web3? Because it's never been done and no one has actually like fully cracked the code yet.
And there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
Because like just balancing a Web2 game is really, really hard. And just if you're looking at traditional trading card game, you know something about card game, don't you? It's really, really hard.
Yeah.
And the perfect balance, basically, you can go both ways. You can, the definition of a balanced game is a game where people will not earn too much, because if they earn too much, the in-game economy, the in-game currency become hyperinflated, and then people have too much money in the game and they don't spend it in the shop. And on the other way around, if it's too difficult to grind in the game, then people will just leave because it's too difficult. So that's Web 2. Now, Web 3, you're adding the layer of an exogenous ecosystem and a market an open market. So you've got elements that you don't control. So trying to find that fine curve where we kind of balance things but also allow for a free market is a challenge.
Yeah, and it's actually a crazy challenge, and I commend you for doing it. We're doing it ourselves. I imagine a lot of people in this room are doing it too. And yeah, it's a new frontier, but I think we're paving the road for something incredibly special. And so Tommy, I'd love to ask you, how are you using Sequence in Hunters on Chain and Boomland?
So the primary use we've got for Sequence is initially we are mobile first, and we've tried a few different options before coming with you guys, and basically what we needed is a wallet that replicate the Web 2 experience that user can have, like the very easy social login, and our games are designed to reach millions of players, and this was the best solution we found to do that. The previous one we've tried didn't achieve that by miles. And then the level of support and the quality of the people we've met across your team is just, like, at the end of the day, we're working with people as well, and it's just close the deal.
Awesome, man. Yeah, it's been wonderful working with you guys as well. And I know Hunters on Chain is on Polygon, right?
Yeah.
And why did you choose Polygon, and like how has it been?
To be honest, it's quite similar from the reasoning behind choosing Sequence. We needed first a chain that could also have a sidechain mechanism, because eventually we'll move to that, and we need that capacity. But eventually, it's also the level of support that they provided, and the gas fees that they provide, and also the fact that they're available on OpenSea, for example, is something that we really needed. But overall, the level of support and the people that we've met there was just unseen for.
Yeah. And having millions of users, it sounds like scalability is obviously important for you too.
And actually, how do you manage scalability on your Sequence?
Yeah, so I think that layer 2s in the EVM ecosystem are the state of the art when it comes to scalability right now. And then by adding on the Sequence relayer, you can actually batch and parallelize thousands of transactions at once and only pay one fee for that. So it's going to save your users time. It's going to enable greater throughput. And then furthermore, you have networks like Polygon and Avalanche who are building layer 3s. Okay. And these layer 3s are essentially application-specific chains or chains designated for a small group of applications, thereby ridding of the congestion on a larger network and enabling greater throughput for the applications using those specific networks.
Awesome. So we'll stick with Sequence then.
Yeah, Sequence is compatible with all of them. So no matter, it'll work with all of them. And I mean, there's another mutual partner of ours, Magic Eden. So they're integrating Sequence, and you're doing a sale of some sort, right? That's coming up?
Yeah, so we are lucky enough to be selected as part of the first project that will launch. They're launching on Polygon. Yeah. They're just deploying on the Polygon network now. And we're going to be one of the first gaming projects to launch alongside them on Polygon. So we're super happy that they're going to be having you as well compatible. So we'll remain on Sequence for the launch. Know that we're super excited about this one as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm super excited about Magic Eden, and I'm super excited about the chain and being able to play it. It sounds like early next year we'll be able to play it?
Yeah, so we're going to have a playable demo available before Christmas.
Oh, nice.
But then the actual game, we need the sale to have happen for that, obviously. Yeah. So that's going to be like early next year, like January something, will be the game release. But you can play this before.
Awesome. Okay, I'm going to play it before Christmas then.
And at the booth, you can play it as well.
Oh,
We've got some iPads.
So I'll play it today. Yeah. Anything else you want to share with the audience?
No, I think it's just, I think what we see on Web3 gaming, the capacity that Web3 gaming brings to basically extract the time of invested in games is really what the essence of what Web3 gaming is about. Mm-hmm. And I think as long as project keeps looking at it like that and not like cash grabs or fake DeFi project that try to pose for games, I think it will go in the right direction, and hopefully this adjustment period that we're seeing now will just lead to times where we can strive again.
Yeah, absolutely. I think right now is when some of the greatest Web3 companies will be built, and hopefully it's many of us in this room. And yeah, thank you so much for joining us today, Tommy.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah, and thank you everyone for listening. If you want to come talk to us, we have a booth out there, sequence.xyz. We'd love to help you. So yeah, just come chat with us. Thanks, everyone.